Hello and welcome to Eco Africa, the environment magazine coming to you from Nigeria, Kenya and Germany. I'm Nel Taegbe from Abuja in Nigeria, and with me is my colleague from Nairobi, Joy Dorin. Hello, Joy.
Hello there, NT. It's good to see you. And yes, we're coming to you from the Central Business District here in Nairobi, Kenya. My name is Joy Dorin Bira. Here's what we have coming up for you on the show today. This week, we find out how swimming pools in South Africa can be transformed into sanctuaries for birds and other animals. We meet a Spanish entrepreneur who produces fabric made from pineapple leaves. And we travel to the wonderful island of La Réunion, where conservationists are trying to protect endangered sea turtles.
Those selling things under those umbrellas sell them every day. So people come by and buy, no expiry date needed because they are mostly fresh. But let's go to the stores where most of the products on the shelves have expiry dates. If they expire, they are thrown out, and that becomes a problem for the environment. A young man, Oscar Ekponimo, thought he could do something better for the environment and those in need of food. So when the expiry dates are indicated by an app he develops, the food is sold at a discounted rate so that it's not thrown out, a problem to the environment, and those who in need of food are better off for it.
Food now turned into waste, yet hunger and food insecurity still plague the African continent. The UN Food and Agriculture Organization report for 2016 says about 14 million people in Nigeria are hungry or undernourished. In many grocery stores and supermarkets, there are food whose shelf life runs out before they are consumed because the purchasing power of the populace is either not there or not enough. Meet Oscar Ekponimo, who wants to change all that. He has had a difficult spell of living without enough food. Before now, he and some friends have even made efforts to cater to some families' food needs. He came up with an idea that's taken that passion a notch higher.
Okay, so Chowberry is a web-based software that enables, that empowers disadvantaged groups with affordable nutrition, and at the same time helps cut down on food waste and products that would otherwise be wasted due to expiration.
When he was 11 years old, ill health forced his father to stop work. The result was that he and his siblings sometimes had to go without food.
While I was in university, I discovered much later, I was about to finish school, that a particular supermarket was throwing away food that was expiring. And I approached them at the time and they decided to, okay, we'll give it to you.
So how does Chowberry work to change this for those in need of food and ensure there's no waste?
On one hand, the retailer is able to use the application or the software to track and monitor products that are approaching the end of shelf life in an automated fashion. And this absolutely allows him, be informed at all times and take immediate action on products approaching the end of shelf life. So the novelty there is then that while he's, analyzing all of that data and monitoring all of that data, that same data is streamed on the marketplace front end as deep discount.
From the moment the app was launched, the visits to the sites have continued to rise, from about 1,500 daily to almost triple that figure. The supermarkets, the NGO and low-income earners that have experienced the Chowberry app are quite pleased.
So we're able to go procure those items at hugely discounted rate, most times even up to 70% discount. And so with this, we are now able to buy more with less money and less resources.
We collect the goods that are almost or about to expire, give it back to your society, you know what it means, instead of letting it go totally, and it helps the store to save costs.
Ekponimo says the response to the project has been encouraging. An initial 3-month pilot involved 20 retailers that reached about 300 people in Lagos and Abuja, and feeding about 150 orphans and children at risk. Now he's hoping to reach a lot more people individually and collectively through the Chowberry 2.0 app.
There aren't many monkeys, or any monkeys rather, in Germany, but a few African primatologists still go there for the purposes of research. Joy, what exactly are they doing there?
A lot actually, NT. Yisa Ginath from Tanzania, for example, is at a college for sustainable development near Berlin. He's finding out how geographic information systems can benefit his work helping protect primates in his home country. We spent a day with him and you will be interested to find out what he's doing.
Isa Ginath has seen lots of German woodland, and yet the student of forest information technology is still surprised at how sparse the vegetation is.
It's more like an empty place where somebody can come in and live. Yeah, it's not a saturated forest, it's very open.
The rainforests back home in Cameroon are very different.
There are a lot of different tree species which, if you don't have a botanist, a good botanist, you can't identify them. Unlike in German forests where maybe you can get just 3 categories or 4 categories of forest tree types.
But despite those differences, the trained biologist will be able to apply the knowledge he's acquired in his current master's studies. Isa has learned how to collect data in a specific area so as to identify trees using GPS coordinates. Here he's using a simple mobile device. But he's also learned to use drones and terrestrial laser scanners in his studies. Isa's favorite part is the presentation of the data. At the University of Sustainable Development in Eberswalde, he has special software for doing that. For example, he can create maps like this simple example. The white dots on the Google interface are the GPS coordinates, which Isa has just measured in the forest right next to the university.
Depending on what you want to do, you can always represent this information on maps as well as on different statistical platforms to demonstrate what is happening on our environment, and with this it is easy to come out with decision making.
The user decides which data are of interest. Isa, for example, has worked as a primate researcher. He managed a project involving chimpanzees in Cameroon. He plans to use his new skills to systematically collect and process data about wild animals in his country.
You can design and manage databases. You can create computer programs that can perform certain tasks. You can also do a lot of data analysis with different statistical methods. And you can also do a lot of modeling ecosystems.
Isa Ginath has already submitted his master's thesis. Next up, he plans to do a doctorate. He feels ready for that. Before,
I was basically like a data collector. I could only collect data, but I never had the skills on how to process the data. And if you have to be an advanced researcher, you have to know how to collect data and how to process the data in order to prove something.
Isa hasn't had much time to relax during the 2 years of his master's studies. Ultimately, he hopes to get a good job with the United Nations. And he hopes to see many other highly qualified Africans gaining a voice in important international organizations.